As you know, we enjoy a good TTArtisan lens on the channel, but there's some that I haven't had a chance to look at. So to that end, I thought we'd crack on and do that while we're waiting for the autofocus one to come, for example. And we've got this one, the 35mm f 1.4, which actually seems to have a very good reputation online, at least, as a real cheapie with some decent little performance. So let's crack it open. I mean, we're shooting with it now, so technically it's already cracked open, but we'll show it up close so you can get an idea of what it's about, you know, really up close, stuff that you can't get usually, even in most videos. We're going to look at a few random sample images, a little bit of a stop-down test as well. I think that's proving to be quite handy. It only takes me a few minutes to do, especially when it's a bad weather day and I can't go out and shoot. You know, a little bit of extra value gives me a chance to get to know the lens even more. But of course, getting out there and using it is the best way. So we'll be doing a lot of that and hopefully sharing some of it with you. And then my usual ramble, waffle at the end about what I think. And then more importantly, it'll be over to you in the comments below to let us know what you think about this lens, which hopefully you've already got your hands on or at least had in the past. So yeah, let's, as we always say, crack on. Most importantly, we got a lens cleaning cloth and the box itself. Typical cool box from TTArtisan. Trying to make these up close bits more to the point, but I think you get the idea. Warranty card, little information booklet which will give you the spec, which we'll have a little talk about in a bit. Little bit of gel if you fancy that, and the lens itself. And there it is, nice and dinky little thing. Apparently you used to be able to get your own logo put on there, but I think that little optical structure design is pretty cool. Now once you pop off the rear cap, you can really appreciate how small it is. I'm going to talk about this screw-on cap later because I've got some updated feelings on it, let's put it like that. This is an all-metal lens. It's a nice, solid feeling thing, albeit absolutely tiny. You know, there are going to be limitations with a lens being this small, but it only weighs about 180 grams, if that. I need to check that. If it's different, I'll let you know. I'll put it up on the screen now. So we've got a 39mm filter thread. We do have this clicked aperturing, which TTArtisan have been very good to make sure that we get. It's not amazing as far as clicked aperture rings go, but it does the job. Now the manual focus ring feels nice and smooth. It has some decent action on it. You can see the lens does move as you focus, so you know, expect the usual limitations with that. We've got a minimum focus distance of 28 centimeters, so that could be very fun, coupled with the 1.4 aperture. We're getting a 52.5mm, 35mm full frame equivalent, of course, so as close to standard as possible. It's going for about £89 on Amazon at the point of recording this, and I've seen it as low as £54.35, I think, on eBay. So dirt cheap. You know, if you're struggling a little bit but you still want to get yourself some lenses, you want to get into your photography a bit more without breaking the bank, this may be a real good option for a Fujifilm shooter. Let's see, and then have a chat about it afterwards in the comments below. The size then is a big pro for me. And yeah, it would be more suited to the XC range of cameras, perhaps more so than the T4, T3 bodies that I use it on. But then the IBIS of the T4 always makes things extra fun for me. Now, while naturally slim, the aperture ring clicks along nicely, albeit fairly weak. I'm not sure I'm into the design of having that aperture ring at the front of the lens, but that's how it is, and I'm glad we've got one anyway. Now, as for the manual focus ring, it's well dampened and easy enough to use. I do want to say a little bit about the lens cap though, and it's something that I've been disappointed with in the past, and I know I'm not the only one, but I kind of get it now. Let me explain. It fits well, as we know, and it adds almost nothing to the overall size of the lens when packed away. So if you're really strapped for space, or you appreciate the extra protection that it offers, then that is pretty cool. If not, then you might want to pick up a cheap 39mm lens hood and pop that on. So, you know, just for a tiny bit more, you can solve that problem if it's a problem for you. Overall, it's a minor negative for me, but it has kind of grown on me now. I get it, finally. The lens performs much better from around f4 onwards, but wide open, it can be used to great effect if you're happy with the vignetting and the distortion. Of course, it's fairly inevitable with a lens of this size, so don't be put off. It does offer a clean and fairly decent bokeh too, so, you know, that's always good. Micro contrast is decent too, and the colours that are produced with this lens are quite neutral overall. Here's a little stop down test to give you a bit of an idea of how things change as you go through the aperture range. Chromatic aberration is present wide open in sunlit scenes, but easily correctable. Overall, the lens is sharp when stopped down then, albeit the corners can be pretty soft, but it's pretty much a common story with these cheap lenses. But you know, the IQ, it really is quite good for such a cheap lens. You can put it to good effect. So we've got an all-metal build, a small size and actually compact lens with a clicky aperture ring at a very affordable price. Of course, it's not here to compete with autofocus 35mm lenses and more expensive manual focus 35s, and it shouldn't have to. Not everything in life needs to be a competition, people. If you want manual and cheap, then this is worth trying basically. If you want autofocus for stills, you could go with the XF35 1.4. If you want autofocus for video, then you've got the XF35 f2. And if you want a cheaper autofocus 35mm lens than both of those, you could go XC 35mm for around £169. Or you could go for something close at 33mm and get the Viltrox 33mm that I'm using now for about £284, or spend £699 for the brand new, all bells and whistles, Fujifilm 33mm. Or there's the upcoming 32mm autofocus from TTArtisan themselves, so pending price and quality. We'll see how we get on with that one. But then we're talking about a difference of 48mm full frame equivalent versus 52.5mm. And you know, if you're set on having exactly that 35mm focal length, then neither the 33 or 32 will be options. But for the rest, the few mil difference in focal length might not be an issue anyway. There's a lot of choice, of course, at this most standard focal length. This is a solid little performer with its own quirks and characters, you know, comes with this territory. And in my humble opinion, it's well worth the tiny outlay. But what about you? It's been out for quite a while now, so have you had your hands on and give it a good going over? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you there.